By AT&T. A special thank you to our sponsors and partners, including DirecTV Now, AT&T, Audible, Fiji Water, SiriusXM, Outfront Media, and the New York City Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. As we begin, please remember to silence your cell phones, use the hashtag Vulture Festival, and don't forget to visit us in the Vulture Lounge following the event. As a reminder, please refrain from using all flash photography and video recording. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hello, Milk Studios, though.
How are we doing today, all right? Great.
Everyone, my name is Matt Rogers.
My name is Bowen Yang.
We're from the Las Culturistas podcast, and we are fucking gagged right now.
Guys, we talked to the queens backstage. There is a palpable something.
Ugh.
It's going to be so fun. And just quick shout out, people at home can watch this. We're live streaming on the DirecTV Now and Vulture Twitter handles, so hi to everybody watching.
Little official business there, why not?
Why not? Why not? Before we bring the queens out...
Yeah, we have something very special that we want to do.
Yes, we should ask everyone to please rise.
Please rise for what we're calling the Drag Race Pledge of Allegiance.
Please place your hand on your
now,
heart.
I feel that you may know...
Here we go. Ready?
Everyone. Ra-taka-tee-tee-ta-ta. Yeah, I'm pussy, bitch. Ooh la 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 la. C'est bon, c'est bon. Doko choco latte la. You can take my snatch. Drag it up, wheel it up. Give me more, bring it to the ball.
Wonderful. You may be seated. You may be seated.
Bitches.
Wow.
All right. So, I mean...
Without further ado...
We're ready to go. You guys excited to meet these queens? Everyone, please give it up for Kalorie Karbdashian Williams! Yes!
Come on, Cal!
Come on, Kalorie! Yes! Give it up, y'all, for Miss Yuhua Hamasaki! Yuhua ho!
Yuhua ho!
Oh!
Onk, onk!
Onk, onk, indeed!
Ani hao ma. Please welcome Jinkx Monsoon!
Have some respect! Jinkx Monsoon, it's monsoon season, bitches!
Yes, yes, yes!
Your season 1 winner. Everyone, give it the fuck up for Bebe, Zahara, Benet. Oh, ratakatiti-ta-ta, though. Yes.
Come on, baby.
Retrofuturism.
And please give a warm welcome.
Come on, the
to
queen.
Miss Michelle Visage.
That's Michelle Visage.
Lovely. Wow. Wow. And here we go.
All right. This is unbelievable.
So it begins.
So it begins. The faggotry. Here we go. Listen, 10 years in, this is the highest rated season so far. It gets bigger and bigger. How are we feeling about this, and what are we looking forward to in the next 10 years of Drag Race, which we all want, I would say?
Yeah. Let's go down the line. Let's just get you to answer the question.
First and foremost, the reason we are in season 10 is because of everybody here.
Absolutely.
It's because of the viewers around the world, and that's the honest to God truth, because people jump through hoops to see, to watch it where it's not on legally, and they do whatever they can do to watch it. But I think the beauty of Drag Race and what has changed since we started is the ongoing, ever-changing process of learning about the LGBTQIA+ community. We were, a show that talked about HIV, being HIV positive and living positively with HIV, and also Peppermint coming out as trans on our show. We've had a few girls that are trans on our show at this point. We were talking about the issues around the world with being gay, and I know a few of the girls were talking about it overseas, that, they were talking about the issues in other countries. Also, losing some of our friends. There were a lot of us that lost friends in the Pulse nightclub tragedy. So there was a lot of conversations that happened on our show that wouldn't happen on any other format on television. So I think that has changed throughout over the years. And the more that our beautiful contestants are willing to talk and share about those things, the more we can positively affect and change the way the world thinks.
Great.
Amen. Bebe, the original, how have you seen it change since you were up there?
How has it changed?
We got a new filter.
Oh, bitch. Okay, no shade, honey. I could see
Vaseline is
myself on HD. I say, yes, bitch, she's a pretty woman, honey. Trust me. Hi, guys. Hi, Jungle Kitties. How are you doing? No, I mean, well, first of all, they have a budget, so no shade. I made $20,000 when I won the show, honey. Now you can win 2 lip syncs in All Stars and make my money.
There
I always say, mother is owing me $80,000, honey. No shade. I love mama. But the legend has spoken. She said exactly what I would say. But what I would add to what I see in the future is just with amazing things happening on the show now, I would love to see it now even become way more inclusive, because when you travel and now you've seen everybody now is trying to use the art form of drag. Everybody, every woman, straight man, gay, whoever, whatever you identify yourself as.
Children.
I mean, like DragCon was amazing. The best part to me on DragCon was seeing all these little kids come and just talk to you about the art form. To me, that's when you know we are doing something special, because many moons ago, it doesn't mean I'm old. I'm just saying many. Many moons ago, it was very unheard of. So just being able to see that the show is doing that much to an audience, to
It
kids.
wasn't even that many moons ago. It wasn't
even that many moons ago.
If you
right.
take our show for 10 seasons, it was probably 10 years ago that the art form was never looked at as a real viable art form.
Right.
I remember growing up right here in the main streets of New York City down to Christopher Street Pier, and I was learning about it on those streets, and drag was always like laughed at and ridiculed.
Yep.
It was not taken within the community, y'all. Wow. And it was very interesting. I always hung out with drag queens, which is why my chair is my chair and nobody else's. But that's real. So it's not 10 years of the course of the show, but before that, really, the art form of drag was still kind of like,
it's still, but that's the beauty about the show, because the show has made it so inclusive. Because like Michelle talks about the heart of the show, because of the heart of the show, there are people who are not even into drag that can identify with our stories. And when you take down that fourth wall, that's what makes it magical. That makes we become human beings to people. And that's why it's so amazing. And so I would like to see that grow even more and more. And most importantly, I would love to see it not be considered an art form for the GLBTQ community. I want it to be an art form for everybody.
Yes.
Because I think that every time, and I love my community, of course, but I feel like a lot of times people try to put the drag in the GLBTQ community, and that's it. And so it's almost like if you're not part of that community, then it's not an art form for you. I would like to see it be that universal, where everybody can enjoy and be able to appreciate the art.
but never forget where it came from.
Oh, absolutely not. Wakanda.
So much
Absolutely
shit
not.
it's true.
Absolutely not.
It's true.
You never forget your roots. You never forget your roots, but
Right.
you can be able to.
I forgot mine.
I'm colonized. Ah!
We won't talk about that.
Gorgeous. Jinkx.
Yeah.
Hi.
Sorry,
That's the
Jane.
quietest she's ever been.
Amazing.
I didn't want to interrupt Angela Bassett over here.
Oh my God.
That's kind to Angela Bassett. This is stunning. Just kidding. Love Angela. Close friend.
No, so I've been doing drag for 15 years. And so that's 5 years before the show was on. And that makes me at least 15. And and I have just seen the stigma, not just within, like the whole world, but even within the queer community, there was a stigma around being a drag queen. Yep. And it was just like there was so much misinformation out there about what it means to be a drag queen and what you're doing when you're doing drag. And now my community celebrates me for being a drag queen when I used to feel like it shunned me, you know? And even though drag queens are like lots of people's favorite aspect of the LGBTQ community, for a long time I just didn't feel like, I felt like it was okay to stand up on stage and make a joke and make them laugh, and then they wanted me gone. You know, it's like, sing your song, tell your jokes, and then go be by yourself. And now I feel like we're influencers and we're advocates for the community in a way we never were before. And what I want to see for the future is Bebe's talking about Drag Race continuing to embrace inclusivity. I think this is our one big show that people really take seriously, so a lot of pressure is being put on it to be the voice of the entire community. And no one entity should be the voice of an entire community, especially one as diverse and multifaceted as ours. So I would like to see TV executives look at this show as an example of what we can do as a community and how important we are in the world.
Absolutely.
And how important our representation is, and create more programming so that there are multiple voices of the queer community out there, so that we can continue to educate the world at large and make it a better place for weirdos like me.
It's happening. It's happening
It
slowly,
is.
but it's happening. We've got Pose coming up, which is huge for the trans community
Yes, Pose.
and people of color. So it's really, really important that these shows, and thanks to Ryan Murphy and World of Wonder and
And the
production
new season
companies
of
that
Queer
are.
Eye is wonderful.
Yeah, it's all great.
I hope people realize that drag queens and queer people, we're not just archetypes and stereotypes. We're human beings with a lot to share.
Yes.
And a drag queen doesn't have to just be a clown. She can also be like a cooking TV personality or like a DJ or a talk show host. Like, we should be able to infiltrate TV everywhere.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, we have seen it be embraced in such a mainstream way, and that actually includes the Emmys. Last season, 8 nominations, including obviously a well-deserved win for RuPaul as best host. For the second
year in a row.
time. And I think he sewed up the third win when he called Aquaria a bossy bottom on the last episode. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's Emmy number 3 right there.
Submit
But
that.
we have not won best reality competition program. I want to ask you guys on the end, like, what do you think has to change, or what do you think has to happen to bring the big one home?
Ladies first.
I think it starts with the people in charge. I think it starts with power, and it starts with people saying it is okay for someone LGBT to win an Emmy as well, because if you look at the statistics, people that have won, more male have won awards than females. That's a problem. More people that are white have won awards than people of color. That's a problem as well. When it goes back to RuPaul's Drag Race winning Outstanding Award for the Emmys, I mean, it goes back to that factor as well. That's what I think.
Yeah. Dang, she got real deep. I was just gonna go with, I think we need to vote more. No, I'm just kidding. I think what could possibly help is exactly what Yuhua said. I feel that we're still counted as, oh my God, I was gonna try to use a big word, sorry, that's what I get. We're still a minority, you know, and I feel that we're all struggling with it, but I believe that with the direction that the show is going, and, you know, of course, in what future years are to come, I really think that possibly we will get that Emmy, hopefully within this next go-round.
And it's just not about winning, actually, but it's also about recognition for our work as a community.
Yes.
And it all starts with everybody, the fans, and now it lays in your hands as the fans, because drag has trickled down to a much younger generation that before, to see a drag show, to see someone in drag, you have to go to a bar. But now it has trickled down to someone who is 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 11-year-olds. So when you guys get older, I hope you guys go out there and vote for someone to win an Emmy who is LGBT.
I'm going to just add on to this.
Go for it.
We were nominated once, so it's not like they've bypassed us every year. So the fact that we were nominated last year was a joy and an honor in and of itself. It was remarkable that our little queer television show in 9 seasons was finally nominated. So that was fantastic. Now, Rue and I were there, and I knew we were winning. I was like, bitch. We got this. Like, people know who we are. Like, everybody knows.
on the carpet. I was like, oh, they're gonna win.
That's what I mean. Like, we knew it.
The winning mentality
and
was
then
present.
they said the voice, and I was like,
The Voice.
But of course, The Voice was surprised that they beat us. Literally, she went up there and she was like, thanks. Yeah. So the fact that we were nominated was huge. Think about everything we've done. By the way, it took nearly 10 years to get Drag Race on the air, and Logo was fantastic, and having the balls, every pun included, to put us on the air. And now we've grown to an even bigger format with VH1. And I do want to say that if we are lucky enough to be nominated to think about everything we do in this reality show, we incorporate probably a piece of every single reality show. These queens are run through the gamut and then scrutinized within an inch of their life by me. And yes, and I do that on purpose. And it has everything you could want a magical television show. And we super serve the queer community. And let's be honest, Hollywood's run by the Velvet Mafia.
Absolutely.
So it is.
Come on.
I mean, it's
time.
just like we've had our hands in show business the whole time.
Correct.
And now we're getting to step in front of the cameras instead of just running our fingers through Diva's hair, you
That's
know?
it.
And just to add to what the ladies are saying, I think persistence is also a big thing, because if you notice, the reason why you think you're recognizing us is because we are not apologizing for who we are. And we're going to, we're going to stand there and we're going to do what we have to do with your Emmys or without your Emmys. And that's
Correct.
not being...
And we're not going away.
You know what I'm saying? And I think if we keep doing that and being persistent and saying this is who we are, whether you acknowledge us or not, we are celebrating ourselves. I think that you have no choice.
Yeah, and who you are is the best reality show on television. That's without question.
Yeah.
So
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
absolutely.
Beautiful. I wanted to ask a question.
That was the running analogy.
Yeah, that was for running. All the runners out there.
Athletic, yeah, it's out of our wheelhouse. Last week, Bebe, you crowned Pork Chop Miss DragCon, I believe. Yes. Which I think like is a beautifully illustrative thing of like how the show is able to honor like the 126 canon queens. Like, what do you think it is about Drag Race that is able to sort of celebrate like the immense legacy it has, like in and of itself, like beyond just like having a shared queer vocabulary? What is it about the show that is so like self-referential and so joyful? Without it seeming like the snake is eating its own tail. Am I throwing too many metaphors out there?
Kinda.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think in my humble opinion, I think that it, you know, you can say what you want to say, but in my humble opinion, I think it has to go all the way back to season 1. Oh, don't play now with the OG girl.
Season 3.
Wait.
The real season
No,
1.
but what I was trying to say, and when I talk of season 1, I said because mother, she really handpicked. I'm not saying she doesn't handpick all the other girls, but
She does.
going all the way to the first season, the fact that she handpicked every single one of us to start this thing. She believed so much in us and believed in the concept and said, these are the girls that are going to start this journey. I think what has made it so special and why as the years go and the seasons go, you get to really be into it. And it's because of the heart of the show. Because when we went into the show and not even having any blueprints of how the show was going, honey, we were just doing, honey, they put us down there and said, this is what you're doing. You better be ready and do it well. You got to really see the people behind all of the fantasy. And every season that has come after there, you can identify with somebody. I don't care if you're the first person to leave or the first person to win, you can identify with somebody's story. You follow their journey. You create relationships with these people. And I think because of the heart, that's what it's really keeping us together.
The show is very little, actually, about boys dressing up in girls' clothing.
Yeah.
It's more to do with heart, integrity, perseverance. One of my favorite words, grit. It's what they do in these situations that got them to where they are today. Rupaul still looks at every single audition video. He handpicks every single one of them still. Those are all his children. They're there for a reason, and that's the beauty of the show.
How many audition tapes do you get?
Thousands.
And okay, yeah. So there's like
Thousands.
probably a vetting process, and then he goes in, or
Well, no, he sees them all as they come through, and there's levels of who kind of makes it through to the next round. But he looks at all of them. He knows who's ready and who's not. He really does. He can look and say, I've seen this person 7 times. They're finally ready. You know, wow. It's not easy. Any of these kids will tell you it is so
It's not.
grueling.
It really isn't.
yeah.
It's
that audition,
not.
Well, we
that
wanted-
audition tape already on itself is like part of the competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also view the audition tape as a reflection of where my drag is. That's how I see it, because they go through so many questions in the audition tape that when you do it, you reflect on your drag and where you are at with your drag. So I think it's a positive outcome as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel even from my audition tape till now, like my drag has completely changed, and like in the best way possible, and even more so like since the show has been over.
And I think it gets harder and harder every single year because drag is all about surprise and that wow factor and thinking outside the box and coming up with something original. And 10 seasons later, it's kind of like we've seen a lot, you know? It's
We've
like,
never
how are you
seen
gonna
Jinkx
keep...
wearing thigh-high slut boots.
Yes!
Fashion queen.
I love it.
It was a tactical decision.
Something's going on.
But
down
like,
there.
it's, every season, the girls have to step it up even more because they're building off of the legacy of all the girls that went before. They have to keep reinventing the wheel over and over and over again. And I think one of the reasons why it's so successful is like when I was a teenager, Pokemon was all the thing.
Ooh, yeah.
And, like when I was like 10 to, before I grew out of it.
Nice try,
But
Jinkx.
Pokemon.
I know she's trying it.
When you were a zygote, yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, there, back when I was a kid, there were 150 Pokemon, and you wanted to learn about all their different
Gotta catch 'em
traits
all.
Catch 'em all,
and
yeah.
catch them
It's a
all.
game.
And queens are kind of like that. It's like we all have different
Yeah.
superpowers. We walk into the workroom, and it's like, ooh, this is the spicy one, and oh, she's gonna be the quirky, lovable goofball, and that's why people are able to relate to us, and that's why they write fan fictions about us. Is 'cause
Yeah, baby.
There we go.
it's addicting.
Of all varieties.
Thank you, Charmander.
Let's talk a little bit about season 10. So I think that we can all agree the lip sync from this week's episode was probably one of the best of all
It's
time.
up there.
Of all time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about favorite lip syncs in history. So let's go down the line. If there's one that stands out to you as the gaggiest lip sync you've seen, Michelle, what do you think? I know they're all your children.
They're all my children, and but and I've been there a long time, and I am not a zygote like Jinkx likes. I'm a woman of a certain age, so I'm going to remember what I can. But what sticks out to me are Latrice Royale, Natural Woman.
Yes.
With Kenya,
That was a good one.
Kenya
That's a good
bounding.
one.
Do you know
That's
why
a good
it's
one.
so good? It's because Latrice is wearing a pregnancy belly, standing there singing to her
Was it with
unborn
Kenya?
baby.
Was it Kenya?
And
Kenya.
then
Jumping
Kenya's
around?
doing
Right. like
backflips
trapeze work.
behind her, running around like in her
Yes.
orbit.
It was
while
like,
Latrice is just
the
singing to an
kibbles and
unborn
bits.
child.
It was kibbles and bits.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
it was.
yeah.
Those in bits.
Natalie Cole, Dita Ritz, Natalie
Yes,
Cole,
that
Legendary.
was mine. That was what I was going to say.
Manila and Delta, MacArthur Park,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
Raja and Carmen, the hot sex on a platter.
Okay, but we're missing the most epic one with Roxy Andrews and Alyssa Edwards.
Yes.
She had a wig under her wig.
Yep,
Yes.
the first.
That was the first.
Now everybody does it.
One was amazing, and I'm not just saying this because she's my sister, but it was absolutely brilliant. Ben de la Creme versus Shangela on All Stars.
Unbelievable.
When Shangela's bucking and twirling and bringing the party, and Ben is like, I obviously can't do that. So the whole time is just standing next to her pretending she's doing the same thing. Like, I'm doing it too, you guys.
I also think that Jinkx, Monsoon, and Detox was a Malambo number
Yes.
5.
Unbelievable.
Mambo number 1.
Legendary.
5. Oh, I'm doing Mambo number
Mambo
5.
number 5.
Mambo
Mambo
Emo
number
five.
1.
Number
Yes,
five.
yes.
Such few foreign language lip syncs. Are we going to expand the universe a little bit more and include more?
Are you
foreign-
trying to kill them? As you know, some of them don't know the words to fucking party in the U.S.
I
There you go.
know. Well,
What's that?
I
I
did
will
want to
survive.
talk a little bit about so Monique Hart. That was a rough lip sync.
but Monique, give it up for
But
Monique.
give it up for Monique.
America?
And something that was really a narrative on Monique's this season was the financial hardship. And you're on the record as saying you don't need money, girl, the Chi-Chi Devane.
Honey,
Do you stand by that, or has watching Monique Hart's kind of narrative, has it made you feel like, oh, maybe there is like a financial disparity
No,
here?
hold on a minute. Let me just say this, okay? I did not grow up poor. I grew up lower middle class, not middle class, in Plainfield, New Jersey. Both my parents worked. I was a latchkey kid. I didn't go without, so I don't know what it's like to be dirt poor, but I can say that I know that those days that I was down on Christopher Street here with these kids that were usually thrown out by their family, not welcome in the home, raised by a grandparent who didn't know they were out there tricking on the piers. These were people that found love within their chosen family, and I was gifted to be in those chosen families, and they did drag with nothing. That's what I'm talking about. I can't sit there and say, you know, my own experience, but I know watching them how crafty they could be. So although my heart goes out to anybody who has less than, because I feel we're all entitled to equality in all aspects of life, I know that in drag, you can tell when somebody's got money and their shit is put together for them, and you can tell when they don't. But the minute Chi-Chi got in her head that she can do it without, it changed her thinking.
You're right,
Well,
it changed her way.
I think it's like this, you know, drag.
Jinkx's dress was probably $5, and she looks amazing.
Anyway. I think it's like this. Okay, so we drag queens, what I love that has happened for years now with Drag Race is the queens can go on to have any kind of career. Yeah. Like Bianca Del Rio's a legit stand-up comedian, and like Violet's doing burlesque.
And you had a very successful off-Broadway
I wasn't going to talk about myself, but
Vaudevillians.
Vaudevillians drag becomes her.
So it's like not every queen's talent is putting a look together, you know? Sure. But I do think it's a skill you can learn at any economic level because like Michelle said, you know, like you can wear a $5 dress, but if you're wearing it right, and if you've, it's like the Olympics of drag. So it's something that requires training. I obviously had slacked off in the look department on my season. I really identified with Monique's narrative because I took out every cent I had to buy the best things I could possibly go with to give myself that competitive edge, you know, and so some of my looks were big misses and some of them were bullseyes in my opinion. But, you know, if your other talents are strong enough, you can still do, like Monique made it really far in the competition.
Amazing.
She's the ooh-ah sensation.
Who cares that she just... It was that Derek Barry thing all over again. It's a piece of fabric.
Right. But also, like, when people, like...
That's like my favorite thing that I ever said. Jinkx will, out of nowhere,
girl,
it's a piece of fabric.
me,
No, but-
and she'll just go, it's a piece of fabric.
It's a piece of fabric.
But even when Michelle,
You're
Michelle
a fairy.
criticizes, when she gives constructive criticisms to the contestants, she never, in my opinion, she never comes to say, "Oh, you don't have money or you're cheap."
No, never.
It's more. I think it comes more to styling because there are people who have thousands and thousands of dollars in their gowns and they come out there and they look really, really cheap. And there's somebody who's gonna have a $5 dress, not necessarily this one, but
But they work it.
I found this dress.
But you know, with your aesthetic and your styling power, that makes it's so different.
Yeah.
So it's not about the money that you put in your drag.
Well, I think
It's about making it work for you.
Exactly.
Right? With whatever situation, you're given, you have to make it work for yourself, whether it's good or bad, economically good or bad. You have to make it work for yourself. I think that's where she's trying to say.
Well, I think we're asking this because I think with the show being so revolutionary, I think the drag industrial complex is sort of formed around all of this in a great way. But like, how do Kalorie and Yuhua feel about this? Like, how did you, going into season 10, figure out your way to plug into this huge sort of network of, you know, merch and the system,
The
system
whole
of it?
industry, yeah.
Like, how do you guys feel about this now? That's kind of where we're coming from with this whole...
It was very overwhelming because back to season 1, they didn't have merch, all that stuff. They didn't have social platform. They didn't go on tours on that stuff. But now it has become this huge phenomenon that if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, you fade out. So I wish that there was a course that we can all learn.
Literally.
After you finish the show, what you need to do, what needs to be done, and how you can navigate through this crazy lifestyle. Because usually in your career, you usually go from the bottom and you slowly, gradually go up in your career. But with Drag Race, after the announcement, you go from here to 360 degrees. Your whole entire life flips around. I mean, I'm going to places I've never been to before because of Drag Race. I'm very, very thankful. I'm going to here. Before, the furthest I've ever gone was New Jersey, but now I'm going
Lucky
to.
you.
But now,
Nothing wrong with
Give it up
Jersey.
for Jersey.
but now I'm going to places I've never thought I would go to.
Like Yonkers.
Like Yonkers. Like Yonkers. A little bit further, so your life changes immediately. So I wish there was a course that teaches you or navigates you. But luckily, I've had so many fabulous mentors. I've asked Jinkx questions before. I've asked Bianca Del Rio questions before. Peppermint, Bob the drag queen, to ask their experience on what to do, what not to do as a performer, as a RuPaul's Drag Race girl. So very, very grateful for that.
Kalorie, anything to add?
Yeah, finally. Sorry, girl. I was waiting. I was waiting for you to breathe so I could try in a cute little words. No, but honestly, it's kind of the same thing. I wish there would have been a course for this because whenever I had audition, girl, I did not anticipate any of this. And very much like she said, I come from a very small state. Well, not small state. Anyways, that got me in trouble last time.
New Mexico ain't Rhode Island, baby.
True, very true. So I come from New Mexico. It's not really like this huge pop culture scene. So I go from nobody to being somebody within literally a amount of hours. And I'm sure Yuhua and everyone else here, but like my friends, my followers on Instagram went from like 2,000 to like 17,000 overnight. And it's this crazy thing, like, and it also puts a lot amount of pressure on you because not only do you have the pressure from your community, but you have the pressure from the world. I get people that have comments about me from Brazil, from England, the UK, and all this other stuff. But
Mars,
like, but at the end of the day, I wish there was like a course to keep me prepared because it wasn't something that I wasn't prepared.
It's giving me a
blessed.
wonderful business
The
idea.
course-
Professor Jinkx.
The course is Drag Race seasons 1 through 9. That's your course. Like, there's nothing that can prepare you for behind. Nothing, because it's ridiculously difficult. There's literally nothing unless you're going to train for an actual marathon, a triathlon even, decathlon even.
exactly.
So there's nothing that could prepare you, but watching the show, you get an idea of what's expected of you. Like, do not come on the show and tell me you don't know how to sew. I don't want to hear it. It's true. I don't want to hear that you don't have characters for Snatch Game that don't make any sense. There's things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to sing, you're going to have to act, you're going to have to dance, you're going to have to shut up, Jinkx. These are things you're going to have to do. So, to me, that's the course, because nobody can really prepare you. You got to prepare yourself.
Michelle, you just mentioned Snatch Game, and I want to know from you guys, who were you planning on doing, and what'd you think of the Snatch Game this season?
This season, I loved watching Monet Exchange as Maya Angelou. I thought she
Very
was
good.
fabulous, spot on, character-wise, look-wise, very, very funny. And I also thought Aquaria was very good as well,
Yes.
which was very, very surprising because I know her
Sleeper.
from New York City. She's very... Why is that funny? I know her from New York City, and she's this very ditzy, bubblegum kind of girl. So to see her do Melania Trump, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I thought
think
those
the
two were
top
amazing.
3 were great.
Yeah, the
They were
deserving.
All 3 of them, and
Eureka's
Eureka too, bitches.
Yes.
Seems to be a lot of hate going on.
But you,
Who would you have been?
I would have done Jackie Chan because I think
Amazing.
he's a character of his own. I mean, you never understand what he's saying. He is always talking about fighting himself. So I think I was going to do Jackie Chan, but I didn't
That's
get the
good.
opportunity to do it.
And Rue would have said, why not Jackie Chan's sister?
Because I'm a man, Michelle.
The world doesn't need to
I'm
know
not
that,
a real
Yuhua.
woman.
How about you, Kalorie?
So for Snatch Game, I was gonna do Angela Johnson. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with her.
Yeah,
Kalorie!
Yeah.
Kalorie, she gotta go.
Were you going to be
Bonqueequee?
Bonqueequee or are you going to be Angela Johnson?
Well, for copyright issues, I would have to be Angela Johnson.
Well,
Okay, there you go.
No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade.
I have a plan if I ever get asked to
what?
do an All-Stars.
winter season. We were going to ask
We're
you
gonna
about
ask
that.
but please continue.
I was just going to say I already have a Snatch Game
Don't
strategy.
tell it.
Is it?
Oh, fine, then I'll give you one of my backups.
All right, give us the backup.
See, that's how you prepare. You have backup.
Oh, now I'm forgetting all of them.
Well, wait a minute, Michelle. Do you say don't tell it because the all-winter season is on the table?
No, I mean, I would never
No, because she's-
confirm or
yeah,
deny anything. Honey, getting all those egos into one
That's what
building,
we're saying.
No.
I don't ever
She just doesn't want me
I'm
to
not even sure if I want to be
ruin
around
the
all that.
surprise.
I feel bad for the people that work on the show for that season.
Yeah.
But with that said, what was your question about that, the winter season?
Well,
on
you
the
know, I
table?
think we're interested in seeing an all-winter season.
I agree.
And I know that it was discussed between you guys on the podcast, so I guess we're curious to find out if that's something you guys would be interested in participating in.
It's funny because Drag Race is the only reality show where they don't bring back until All Stars 3. They hadn't brought back any winners. Like every other competition show brings back the winners right away. So I kind of want my chance to get into the into the Diva Dome again.
But I agree
You
with
know?
the
She just wants to
winners
be on
not
VH1.
coming back. I think they've already done it. Give the other little kids a chance. You know what I mean? Let the ones who almost did it. That's my opinion. They're going to do whatever they want, not be part of it
I
anyway.
totally feel that way too. But then it's also like, just the same way, so much has changed between Bebe's season and then her season of All Stars. I would love to show how I've evolved in 5 years, and I would love to It was a shot of adrenaline that I didn't know that I was always missing in my life.
Which
was
is a
the
RuPaul song
competition.
available on iTunes.
It was like I have always had big dreams for my drag aspirations, and I really, I talked myself into doing Drag Race. I'm like, take a chance. You might not make it halfway through, but if you can make it to Snatch Game, you'll consider it a success. And then I get on the show, and something about being in that competitive environment, which was something I never wanted, suddenly lit a fire under me. And then I was like, I'm a wonderful drag queen, damn it!
I'm talking. I'm talking.
Alaska loves doing that impression of me. I am talking, let me finish.
Yes.
It's powerful. It's
It's
good.
powerful, memorable.
Make your presence known.
Absolutely,
Come on.
100%. So speaking of that, is there any catchphrases of the other queens that you find yourself employing in your own life?
Besides the obvious one right now in the zeitgeist,
Which is, we
Miss
can't. Miss Van.
Angie.
thank you.
It's so funny whenever you're
I
cracking
get
up
it
with
anywhere that I go.
that. I'm sure you do.
Is it critical mass now? Is it like okay?
Talk,
This is,
in the Starbucks line,
Oh my
on the speaker, and I'm like, it's great. I said that like 20 times, thanks.
Miss
It's that
Vanjie.
type of thing. It's adorable. I love it.
Yes,
but
yes.
there's a lot.
Miss.
She texts me after every show, and she'll text me with something else that I said from Jinkx, and then she'll ha-ha on her own statement. Like, there's all that going on.
I'm befuddled.
Yeah, like what is it? Why did it, these things that catch on? Why do you think they catch on? Like, what is it about
Because
it?
it's so ridiculous.
You
They
never
get
know.
it.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
You just never know what catches on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of us go into the show saying, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna put this catchphrase."
Well,
Yeah.
water off of Doug's back. She tried.
But I mean, okay, girl, she's calling you.
It was a
out, bitch.
tactical decision.
But I don't think. Well, okay. Except from her, I don't think a lot of the girls go saying, oh, like even with the Vanjie thing, I don't think people go and say, this is what I'm going to say. You know, I think we say what we say in our confessionals and then people just latch onto what they latch onto. You just never know. So don't try to prepare all catchphrases, honey. When you
I mean, who could have expected that everyone would be doing, like that became a thing. I think the more, because, I don't know, like I said, I've been a drag queen for 15 years. I started drag at 15 years old. I'm 30 now. I lied about my age.
That's true.
I did. That is true.
She looks much older, but she really is only 30.
I play older. But I lied about my age, got into bars, and was performing at 50. This was my after-school job. And
God, I have so many jokes I wanted to do there, but I know there's younger people. It had to do with a glory and a hole.
but
together.
You
drag
guys
queens-
have internet.
When you put drag queens in a room together, like she said, it's loud personalities. We all have our crazy past. We all have our different reasons why we do drag. We all think we're the biggest thing in the whole wide world, And then you put all those energies together and weird stuff just gets generated, Like, that's why it catches on, is because, like, how did you ever think of just, like, yelling, Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie.
My favorite description of Miss Vanjie is someone tweeted, is like the end of a Tennessee Williams. It's just so sad.
Oh my God,
and
yes, that's
melancholy.
a smart person
Right?
reference.
Right, there you go.
I mean, and everything Alyssa Edwards says.
Sure.
is
Yeah.
Speaking of Alyssa Edwards.
I am not the wobble. Do you know what we were saying today, which is low level, but the shade is knee deep?
Like, amazing.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. But you're
Romper
right,
room
because-
fuckery.
Yeah.
That's one of my
That's good too. Because if you're trying to manufacture catchphrases, then that's just textbook like inauthenticity.
Now learn to sew first,
Learn to sew first.
then do the catchphrases.
There you go.
So, season 10. This is obviously you might take a backseat to this question, but who are we rooting for? Season
yeah, no.
10. Yes, being a
Pass.
judge and all.
I'm voting for RuPaul Andre Charles.
There you
Yes.
go. Pageant answer.
Do we have any faves? I know you guys had a little glimpse inside the workroom.
I'm
so.
still rooting for myself.
Yes, you are.
I am delusional, but I'm still on the show. I'm still not eliminated. I'm still on the show.
I believe that. Crazier things have happened.
In her dreams. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I did an interview a few days ago for DragCon. They asked me, how are you dealing with after the fact that you're eliminated? I told them, I'm not eliminated. I'm still in the workroom. I'm just there as a chair.
Yes. Kellyanne Conway, that shit. Just tell them that they're lying.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
But no, I'd probably say who I'm rooting for is like my big girl sister. You know, especially because I feel like as a big girl, it's hard being on Drag Race. Well, not necessarily because it's. Anyways, I'm like Michelle's just gonna tell me I'm stupid. Anyways, no, but I'm really rooting for her just because she's a fellow big girl, and I feel like it's
Who,
finally
Aquaria?
time.
Just kidding.
I feel like it's finally time for a big girl to take home that crown, and I feel that Eureka does possess everything that a winner should have.
But I don't
Absolutely.
think that I don't. Okay. I don't think that the winners are chosen because of their sizes.
No, I promise
You know what I
no.
mean? Like, I just don't believe that. And I don't think that if you consider yourself a healthy lady, I don't think you should feel. It's true.
I'm a
it's
healthy
true.
lady. My tits are
Girl,
healthy
I'm
lady.
a healthy lady too, honey. No shade, honey. Big doesn't just mean like this. It's even the height as well, too. But I don't think that that's what happens when you go in the show. It's like, okay, we're going to crown a skinny girl or we're
No.
going to crown a big girl. You know? It just so happens that the competition ends up being what it is. But I don't believe, and I can say that from coming from season 1, I don't believe that mother chooses according to sizes.
Of course
You
not.
know, I think people just want, if you talk of a big girl, you probably just want to see yourself represented. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But it's not that, the choice is not made because of your size.
It's like how like I think maybe a majority of the winners have been queens of color, and that's not sort of intentional or anything. It's just sort of a symptom of
wins?
the system.
It's because they fuse, honey. They
They
fuse.
fuse. They fuse. Okay, wait. We're gonna direct some specific questions. We're gonna start with Bebe. What do we think of the rumors that you were a mole on All Stars 3?
I was buying
Bitch,
it.
that would have been everything.
It would have.
Okay, but like
It would have.
Here- been everything.
Here is my mental block for that. Like, I
Why do
can't.
you guys listen to Reddit, first
That would
of
have
all?
been.
Because a lot of
A.
times it's right.
A lot of times, but not 100%.
Not
So there's,
100%.
there's always that little thing that goes, what?
Yeah, 100%.
Go
That
for the
it's not
journey.
always right. But for Bebe, like I had a hard time envisioning a moment where it cuts to you being like, "Mother, I have something to say," and like, then what? Like what goes on? What do you think about all those rumors?
Well, you know, I think it would have been so fun if I was actually the mole. No shade, because you didn't even think about that, did you? Like about me, like the whole mole thing. But when the rumor came out, it would have been a fun idea.
It would have been fun if I didn't know. I would have been pissed as hell.
But,
Why
you
didn't
know,
anyone tell
but
me?
I think it's because that people, fans and supporters were craving for a winner's season so bad. So when I was introduced in the show in All Stars again, they didn't want to believe that the bitch was competing. They did not. And then I was safe throughout that time. When the rumor came out, I was always safe week after week. But when I started winning
you
them,
were good.
Girl, but when I started winning that challenge, the vultures came out. Oh, bitch, she is not the mole, honey. She gotta go. She gotta go. But
It felt like they were keeping you safe, even though
So they
sometimes
thought-
we felt you should have won challenges.
of
We're like,
course.
why is she safe?
right, but the fans were thinking that, oh, if she is safe, then that means she's just sitting and watching the girls.
Yeah.
She's watching the girls because she's in the bottom, then the girls can send her home. But if she is saved, then she can be able to take that to mother and tell mother exactly what's going on. So,
Guys, it's a TV show.
right.
It's not that serious.
I know, no shade. I was not the mole. Were you disappointed?
No, you were amazing.
No.
You did great. Yes.
Thank you.
Incredible. So you, of course, Ratakatiti Tata is now the drag pledge of allegiance in this room, at least as far as it's concerned.
Have they all been initiated?
Yes. Oh, they all stood on their feet, honey. All right. So listen, that was you saying it's whatever you're feeling at the time.
An emotional language.
Yeah. So if you could say, what are you feeling at this time right now in your language, Bebe, Zahara, Benet? Wow.
Listen.
They were hungry for the whole thing, bitch.
Oh, you have to
These
wait.
6-year-olds were on their feet.
Yeah, you gotta wait next Friday for my single dropping.
Oh,
Kitty.
you heard it here.
Yes,
Jungle
but
Kitty, the single.
Right. No, but I think bitch is a state of mind. Okay,
Yes.
and it's an attitude, and you don't have to be from Africa. It's not an African thing. It's everybody. It's a state of mind. It's not apologizing for who you are, and it's taking power of what belongs to you. That's what Jungle Kid is, and that applies to
100%.
and that applies to every single person in the room. So right now, that's what I'm feeling is very rackety-tee-tee-ta-ta.
Yes,
Are
you
you
are
sure?
giving that.
Let's go. Can we go down the line? And
What was the question?
What is,
What I was gonna ask you, what are you feeling right now in this made-up language? But you're feeling
Bitch, I'm feeling Jungle
ratakatiti-ta-ta.
Kid, rackety-tee-tee-ta-ta.
Yes, that's acceptable.
Can we ask the other queens if you could speak in this emotional language that is, again, not
Oh
African?
no, not Jinx.
What are you
Not
feeling?
Jinx.
Like, okay, we'll go first. We'll go first.
Dub wah wah wah.
Good.
Scooby Gooby Doop Doop.
Scooby Dooby Doop Doop Doo.
Rackety tackety taka ta ta.
Bitch, that's how you feel.
Rakataka. I mean, you're insane. You're an insane person. She's like, oh, it was just whatever you're feeling at the time. It was that she didn't want to have to write anything.
Bitch.
She's like,
But you did
oh,
write something, and it was.
I could just imagine Miss Bebe. So they're like, girls, I do not write lyrics.
No,
girls.
bitch. No. I don't write
That
that.
is beneath me.
Oh, bitch, don't forget I was the first drag entertainer to start releasing singles from season 1. I'm the shit, honey.
Come on.
So a bitch
Come on,
can write,
Cameroon.
oh yes, a bitch can write, a bitch can write good singles, but guess what, honey? Sometimes it doesn't have to be that stuffy.
Nope.
Okay? Because when we were sitting and writing, and Kennedy
Face,
and my sister
beauty,
Shangela
face,
and Trixie,
beauty,
all of them,
face.
when we were doing that verse, they were like, Bebe, so what are you gonna write? I said, girl, I'm gonna take the bridge. And then Shangela was like, girl, are you sure you wanna take the bridge? I said, bitch, I'm gonna take the bridge. So then we're all sitting and everybody is singing what you're singing. So Trixie's giving it and everybody's giving it. And so I'm giving mine, I'm like, rackety-tee-tee-ta-ta. Kennedy turns and looks at Shangela and says, bitch, she gonna take us to the bottom, bitch. She gonna, oh, bitch,
No.
you better.
Now
She said,
it's-
Kennedy. She said, Shanji, take the bridge. So sister, Shangela, this is Shangela's sister. So I'm gonna take the bridge, okay? I said, bitch, you are not touching the bridge. Girl, when we went to record that song, I said, watch, bitch. Watch mama work. When we went to record that song and Miss Adam gave it to us, I said, bitch, perfection.
Yes.
Adam loved it.
Shangela turned and looked at Kennedy and said, bitch, really?
Oh my God, that is the tea.
Yeah, but I love them, yeah.
Yuhua,
Beauty
what's
face,
your
beauty
emotional
What are you feeling
language
at
right
this
now? What are you
time?
feeling at this
What
time?
are you feeling? Sorry.
I'm feeling
There you go.
To the point.
To the point.
Miss Kalorie.
I can probably roll my R's really good. So
Yes.
Like, come on, Turkey.
Hit the back of your teeth. With that tongue.
That was Turkey
I just got
Life.
too excited.
Okay, I have a question for the season 10 queens. Is there a season of the show that you feel you could have won? And if so, which
Season
season?
11.
Season
Season
10.
11.
No, too soon? Too soon?
All Stars
dang.
4. That's an option.
Well, there you go. Okay, so speaking of All Stars 4, Michelle, for you, I know, like, again, they're all your daughters, but is there a queen that you are really pulling for on All Stars 4? And this
What All
isn't
Stars for? What are you talking about?
It hasn't been
Girl.
greenlit
Is there any
yet.
All-Stars
Sure.
for?
You guys know something I don't know?
There you go. We're friends with the people at Viacom.
Yeah, you know, very close with Viacom.
I have no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
in a world where an All Stars 4 is greenlit,
Okay.
what queen? Hypothetically,
Yeah.
of course. Now, what queen are we looking forward to seeing? Who are you feeling like maybe we don't know? They've come a really long way that you can specifically pinpoint as someone who would gag the kids if they came on All Stars 4.
Oh, God. There's a lot. They've grown. Like, let me just use Shangela for an example.
Absolutely.
Because Shangela was there for like 25 seasons and then came back again and she slayed the game.
Yeah.
She was amazing. I was so proud of her. There's a lot of queens that have grown so much. I mean, there's names that people totally forgot about, like Serena Cha-Cha, who I've seen.
Who's that? I miss
Not
Serena
kidding, who I've
every
seen
day.
recently, and she looks so much better.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't know how her performance is and what her attitude is, but I know that there's some that, I talked to Serena and she's like, after I saw myself, I realized, oh shit, bitch, I need, to check myself. But there's a lot of queens out there that have fully changed and fully grown, and their game has really stepped up. So there's so many. I'm not going to sit here and keep naming names, but there are plenty to choose from.
There you go.
So Serena Cha-Cha.
Well,
Great.
I'm just,
Thank you, great.
She's just an example of who, right off the top of my head, because she has grown so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I was really proud of her. I know she does like wigs now for the girls,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm really proud of the person that she's become, and that's amazing.
Excellent.
She's also a little muscle twink now.
Oh, yeah?
She's lean, baby.
a twunk.
Yeah.
Ooh, really? Oh.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Jinkx
So
has
is Sasha
first-hand
Bell-
accounts.
Have you guys watched Sasha Bell's Instagram play out?
Oh, I'm
She's
so
on
proud of her.
she's on a
Yeah.
fitness
Trade.
journey, and now
Trade.
she's
She'd be the
okay.
trade of All Stars
She's
4.
a man now, girls.
She takes
Boy, that's a man.
selfies at the gym every day.
I think
She's
it's
like,
a zaddy now. Is that the
Zaddy.
thing?
Zaddy.
She looks great.
We know about the zaddies. Okay, so I know we have some audience questions. So let's go to, I believe, Audra has a question.
Wave your hand, Audra.
Audra.
and we have a mic runner.
We have
too,
a
guys.
mic
Right
runner.
there.
Give it up for the
Hi,
mic
Audra.
runner.
For the mic
Yes,
runner.
mic runner.
Yes, hat.
All right,
Okay.
stand up, Audra, and let them know.
Hi.
She's shy.
Hi, Audra.
I am shy, you're right.
Don't be shy.
Okay. So I was wondering, even Michelle too, for this question.
Thank
How
you.
did you guys get into drag, and who inspired you to go into drag in the first place? It's such a challenging art form.
Well, I'll be quick because you guys will be longer, so let me get mine done. Because I'm a cisgender, heteronormative presenting girl who has been part of the community since I'm 17 years old. So me learning what I learned from trans
But-
people who
but
didn't have a name as
You can
trans
be
people
everything
yet.
she just said and also be hella queer because she is so
Correct.
queer. You
Correct.
guys.
Correct. And you don't know where I've been and all that shit, so never judge. Amen, girl. But at the end of the day, my first inclination of something different and drag was when, it's a true story, back in my day, we didn't have computers. We had these things called encyclopedias, and I was writing something they would call a report on, I was a swimmer. I spent every day of my life when I was young at the pool, and I was obsessed with Mark Spitz. If you don't know about him, just look him up. And as I was going to Mark Spitz, I passed Mae West. And I went, what is that? And then I started getting books and asking my mother to get me to movies and all that stuff. And I realized at that point, she was my first drag inspiration. And I thought, if I could look like that, my life would be perfect. And that's kind of where I realized it's okay to just go all the way. And from all those queens on Christopher Street at the piers that I would be with voguing every night and doing our thing, that's where I learned to be who I am completely, whether it's in drag or out of drag, and love myself for who I am. So that's where my journey began. And what about you, Bebe?
Well, mine is a little different because, of course, coming from Cameroon.
Cameroon!
They call her
A bop for the ages.
Hold up. So look up the video. It's
Come on.
gorgeous.
Do your homework.
So when I just coming from there, growing up as a child, I knew that I was very interested. This is me being very young and not even knowing what all this is all about. But I know hair, makeup, fashion, performance, and all that. That was just something that was kind of innate in me in a way, and I was very curious about it. But I wasn't surrounded by that art form, and I wasn't even surrounded by artists that could even make me figure it all out. But I know growing up as a child and watching television, yes, we had television back at home, okay? Not just sitting on tree trunks, honey. We have, bitch, we got grocery stores too, just saying, honey.
Educate us,
girl,
honey,
they
educate
tried it,
us.
honey. They think I live on just mud huts, honey. Not just...
Eating crickets?
Girl, crickets, girl, and they think I know Kunta Kinte too, and I don't, honey. But just say, yes,
know.
it did. But But growing, but growing up, you know, I remember going to the bathroom, and I know that the people I was always lip syncing to, I didn't even know what lip syncing was, but I know I believed I was Diana Ross. I believed I was Whitney Houston. I believed I was Grace Jones. Like those were the divas we saw back at home, and so I was like, oh my gosh, bitch, that's me. So I would go in the bathroom, and I would be in that mirror, and I would be giving all the life, and I didn't even know what that was. When I came to the United States of America, and one of my friends, I was in Minnesota, and one of my friends was like, come, let me take you to the gay 90s. I said, the gay 90s? What is the gay 90s? So just very, very ignorant about it. And he said, bitch, I want to take you to go watch a drag show. I said, a drag show? What is a drag show? And so we go there, and bitch, the curtains open, and these divas walk out, and looking so flawless to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's when I put all the puzzles together. And I was like, that is why I am so interested. This is what it is. But I still did not even start building my brand until I got casted to go on stage with Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, when she came to Minneapolis, and they were doing that, and they wanted girls to go up, and so I got paid. So I said, bitch, you can look like that and make all this money too? I'll be doing that. And the rest is history.
Yes, it is. What about you, Jinkx?
I just always wanted to be a performer. Like, it was just always my path in life was finding a way to the stage. And I tried everything to see which ones I liked the best. And my heart belongs in theater. But I find that creating a drag character lets me do theater constantly. Like, I mean, I still go for auditions for plays and stuff. I've done musicals and classical theater, and I occasionally, you know, still get offers for male roles in plays.
Oh,
But I just, like, at a very young age, I just knew I wanted to grow up to be Bette Midler. And, and I mean, I think cross-gender casting is just, it's a way to get a fresh perspective on the classics, you know, and the classics include, like, from the 70s, like Sondheim and stuff. I think, you know, we should just be allowed to play the characters we want to play, no matter what our biology is. And when I saw my first drag show, this drag queen, Abby DeMonico, pointed directly at me at one point, and she was like, finally it happened to me.
CC.
And it was like she, like, poked into my sternum and touched my soul in her cheap little wig and her fur duster. It was like such a low-rent drag show, and I was like, because it was a drag queen pointing at me, and it just felt like she had passed it on to me, like, you know, like a werewolf in 30 days, the full moon. I all of a sudden, like, became a drag queen, and I haven't ever stopped. And I find that, like, I get to do everything I planned on doing. I'm a musician and a singer, songwriter, a cabaret star. I've acted in television and movies, and I've done all of it in drag.
Yes.
Yes,
Amazing. How about you, Miss Hamasaki?
Well, I started drag before, I was 15 at the time, before Drag Race happened. So before, like they said before, it was something to look down upon. But I started doing drag because I just felt like I didn't fit into society. And the only way to feel like I wasn't judged was back at a gay bar again. To get into a gay bar was to do drag because the security did not know who you were when you were in drag. I didn't go there to party. I didn't go there to drink. I just wanted to fit in and not be judged. And that's why I did drag. I don't know if you guys remember MySpace. Yes,
yeah.
MySpace. Yeah. And before on MySpace, Jeffree Star was this huge icon on MySpace. And I saw his photos. He played with all the colors of the rainbow. His hairstyle was crazy. His makeup was crazy, but I loved it all. And I thought to myself, I wanted to be just like that as well. I wanted to play with all the colors. I want to dress up too. Because when I was younger, I would wear my mother's heels. I would wear my sister's dresses. And I was always pretending I was Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera. I never thought of myself performing as the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. So when I got older, I put all those pieces of puzzles together of me liking hair, outfits, makeup, dressing up, entertaining people into one element, which was being a drag queen.
Very
Yes.
cool. Nice.
Kalorie?
No, bitch.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of the same thing. So I was actually, I was born and raised in Roswell, New Mexico. Any of y'all are familiar with that? Yes,
Roswell.
it's the aliens. There's none there. I promise you.
Me.
There's only illegal ones.
Where did you
and
say?
I can say that because that's like half of my family. Roswell, New Mexico. So we didn't really have this whole like drag scene. We didn't really gay culture was a very forbidden thing in my hometown. And I remember I was watching. It was a rerun on VH1, and it was season 2, and it was Jujubee. She had walked out. She was doing this little runway, and I'm like, God, like who is she? She's beautiful.
That
And
was
then-
me.
Oh, it was you when you were 15. When you were 15.
No, I am Jujubee.
That's her.
So I was watching this, and of course, then that's when it started to get me into like the whole drag scene, and I started to understand what becoming a drag queen was, and I had seen that all these queens had been such amazing beacons.
Beacons,
Bacons.
not
Bacons.
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 I am not a
Beacons.
calculator, okay? I'm not a calculator. So anyways, I had seen that they were all these beacons of hope and then light and then everything that they were doing for the community. And I realized that that's something that I wanted to do. And of course, this whole like being in the spotlight and glitter and glamorous, and it all appealed to me. And it really helped me kind of decide where I wanted my future to go. And then of course, I met my drag mom from back home in Albuquerque. And she really inspired me because she was also a big girl. And she was like, bitch, we are sickening, bitch. We are Williams. We eat what we want. We eat as much as we want. And I was like, okay, cute. And so like with her, I was like, yeah, bitch, this is my family. Because remember, carbs are friends.
Yes.
And so with that, it just really, all of it just with being this pillar for people, especially with my role, like, body positivity, I love being a role model for girls, even though I'm not a real one. I mean, I know it's hard not to believe. But it's great knowing that I can be that role model for somebody. And so that's why I started doing drag.
That's great.
Amazing.
Well, thanks, everyone.
You guys, we wish we could talk to you for hours and hours, but we just want to say thank you guys so
Thank you so much
much.
for having me.
Because
Thank you.
you show there are no limits and you inspire everyone. So thank you guys so much.
Everyone,
Thank
give
you,
it up
thank you.
for
Give it up.
Kalorie,
Thanks so much.
Kardashian,
Thank you,
Williams,
boys. Thank you.
Yuhua, Hamasaki, Jinkx, Monsoon, Bebe, Zahara, Benet, Michelle Visage. Have a great day, guys.